Hello everyone, I've got some good news. In this lesson, we will not be learning about yet another tool. So far, we've learned about Git, Node, NPM, and Webpack. And while knowing how to use these tools is an essential part of being a developer today, you are not going to land your dream job just by knowing how to use these things. At the end of the day, the thing that is going to make you stand out from all of the other developers, aside from having a good attitude, is your ability to create amazing websites. And in order to do that, you need to be able to write amazing CSS, which is exactly what we are going to learn about in this lesson. We are going to begin building the travel agency website together, and we are going to kick things off in this lesson by learning how to write super organized CSS. Here are three key concepts that we will cover in this lesson. Number one, file architecture. We want to organize our CSS code into multiple files, and we want each file to be relatively small and have a specific purpose. Number two, we will learn how to identify patterns in the design that we are working on, and we will learn why doing so is so important. And number three, we want to give ourselves a few rules or guidelines to follow as we are coming up with class names and writing our CSS selectors. All right, it's time to get started. Let's build a website together. The first thing I want you to do is open up a web browser. After you've done that, I want you to go to the travel site folder. You created this folder towards the end of the Git section in the course. Let's go into this folder and then go into the app folder. And I want you to drag the index.html file on top of your web browser. All right, so this is our starter page. You and I are starting with this exact same file, and we are going to move forward together. Currently, this page is nothing but super simple raw HTML with a few image elements added in. There is not even a single ounce of CSS being applied to this page. The question becomes, what is our goal? Well, let's imagine we work for a company and we are the developer. And on our team, there is a designer who sent us this file. Let me open this. This is just one big giant image file, but let's imagine that the designer wants the website to look like this. Now, as the developer, it is our job to make this come to life with code. So this is our goal. This is how things should look. There's only one way to move forward, and that is to begin writing CSS to bring this design to life. So let's go ahead and open the entire travel site folder in your text editor, and let's open up our main CSS file. It lives in the app folder, and then the assets folder, the styles folder, and there it is, styles.css. All of this was just dummy or test code from our Webpack and Post CSS lesson. So let's go ahead and select everything in this file and delete it. And let's begin with a bit of global CSS that we want to trickle down or cascade down to every element on the page. So let's target the body element and let's assign a global font. The designer told me that they want to use a font named Roboto. And we will use a sans serif fallback if that isn't available. And let's set the default text color for the page to a dark gray. Let's go ahead and save this. And now remember, our HTML web page is not actually pointing towards this CSS file. So in order for this new code to actually be applied to the page, we would need to start our Webpack command, right? And then Webpack will watch us and recreate our bundled file whenever we save changes to a source file like this. So right now, do this with me. Jump into your command line and run the following command with me. npm run dev. All right, that task is now running. So let's go over to the browser and refresh. And we see that we are now using the Roboto font, and it's a dark gray. If we scroll up to the top of the page, we see that this image here is so large that it's forcing the browser to scroll horizontally. Let's write a global CSS rule to fix that. So let's target all images on the page and give them a max width of 100%. And let's tell it to use a height of auto. Let's go ahead and save that and refresh the browser. That looks better. Okay, what do we want to work on next? To answer that, let's look at the design file that the designer sent to us. For now, I don't think there are any other global styles that we would want to trickle down to every element on the page. I think our next step is to simply choose a unique part of this design and begin building it. So for the time being, let's skip this very top header navigation bar, and let's choose this banner area, this image of the water with text laid on top, as the first thing that we will build. All right, if we hop back to the browser, we can see there is the image, and here is the text that we want to sit on top of the image. Let's take a look at this section of the page in our text editor. So back in the index.html file, if we scroll down a bit, we see this area with a class of large hero. So let's go ahead and write CSS that targets the class of large hero that will turn this into this. All right, so in our CSS file, we could go down to the bottom and create a new rule targeting large hero. But if we think back to the key concepts of this lesson, we remember that we wanted to pay attention to file architecture, which means we don't want to just dump all of our CSS within this one file. So let's delete this, and this is actually where post CSS and imports come into play. So follow along. I want you to find the main travel site folder, and within the app folder, and then within the assets folder, and within the styles folder, I want you to create a new folder named modules. Okay, and then back in our text editor, within the styles folder, here is the new modules folder. Let's create a new file within this new folder and name it _ large-hero.css. There's nothing special about this file name. It was my opinionated choice to begin the file with an underscore. In the programming world, if you begin a file name with an underscore, you are indicating to other developers that that file is considered a partial file, which just means you probably won't use this file in and of itself, but instead you will import this file into some other file. So for example, if we had a bit of CSS within this file, for the time being, let's just say position relative, how do we import this large hero CSS file into our main style sheet? It's as simple as using the @ symbol and then saying import, quotes, and then we want to drill into the modules folder that we just created, and then we list out the large hero file. We actually do not need to include the .css, and be sure to include a semicolon. To save you a bit of frustration, make sure you include the import line at the top of your file, not down at the bottom. Now it's important to point out that import is a native CSS feature, but we don't want the web browser to have to download multiple CSS files. Instead, we want Webpack and Post CSS to see this import line and actually replace this line with the contents of this large hero file. And we can very easily set up Post CSS to do that. Let's do that right now by hopping over to the command line. Go ahead and press Control-C to stop Webpack from watching us. And now we can run a command. And we want to install a Post CSS package. So let's type npm install. The name of the package that we want is Post CSS-import. And be sure to include --save dev. Go ahead and hit enter. And once that download completes, we then want to go leverage that package. So to do that, we need to hop into our webpack.config.js file. Towards the top of this file, remember we created this array named Post CSS plugins. So let's do this at the very start of this array. So maybe right at the beginning of this first require line, let's add a new line and let's require in. So require parentheses, and the name of the package was Post CSS-import. And be sure to include a comma at the end of that line. Okay, then let's go ahead and save this file. And then also, in my case, I need to be sure to save my styles.css file. And now to make sure that this import is working, just as a test, let's go into our large hero file And just to make it abundantly clear that it's working, let's add a line and say color should be purple. All right, let's give that a save, and then let's start up our Webpack task again. So in the command line, let's run npm run dev. Okay, and then if I go to the browser and refresh, if we scroll down a bit, here's that large hero area. Cool, it's purple. Now that we know our import is working, we don't actually need color purple. So let's delete that. And let's jump back into our main styles.css file. Why don't we take things one step further and move these two global rules into their own file dedicated to global rules. So go ahead and copy these rules to your clipboard. And let's create a new folder that sits side by side the modules folder that we created just a moment ago. And let's name this new folder base. Within our text editor, let's create a new file in that base folder. And let's name this file _ global.css. And let's go ahead and paste in those rules that we wrote earlier. Go ahead and save this file. And back in our main style sheet, up on the very top line, let's create another import, drill into the base folder that we just created, and grab the global file. Perfect. So now our main CSS file doesn't contain any CSS itself. Instead, this main file is like a recipe pointing towards other ingredients that each have their own specific focused purpose. This will let us keep our code super organized. And let me show you one last reason why I love the way that PostCSS handles imports. You might remember earlier in the course, I mentioned a popular CSS package named normalize.css. We haven't used normalize.css yet, but we did install it when we were first learning how to use npm. So for example, if you open up the package.json file that sits in the root of our project folder, under dependencies, you will see normalize.css. Now currently that means that the CSS for that package lives within the very base of our project in the node modules folder within this normalize.css folder. There's the style sheet. So you might think that it's tricky to navigate to this folder in order to import normalize. But watch how easy PostCSS makes this. Within our main style sheet, we can just say import, and then we literally just type the name of the npm package, normalize.css, semicolon, go ahead and hit save. And if we go back to the web browser, before I refresh, I want you to pay attention to this tiny white margin you see on the left and right side of the browser. So if I refresh, you can see it's gone, and we can thank normalize.css for that. Normalize is an alternative to CSS resets. It adjusts the styles of certain elements in an effort to make all web browsers render things more consistently. Normalize is excellent. I recommend using it on all of your projects. Alright, so that was a crazy 7-minute tangent on file architecture. Let's get back to the actual task at hand. We want to write CSS for this part of the design, the image with text on top of it. And if we jump back to our text editor, we created a file dedicated to that sole purpose. So here we are in the large hero CSS file. Let's get to work. So the first thing that I want to do is position this text so that it sits on top of the image. So to do that, let's head over to our HTML. Here is the large hero area. Now this image can stay where it is. But if we want to position this text to sit on top of the image, we want to wrap these elements, these heading and paragraph elements, in their own unique div so that we can position that div as a whole, instead of positioning each one of these elements independently. So let's create a div sandwich. Here's the beginning. Let's indent these lines, and then let's close that new div. And let's give this div a unique class name so that we can target it with our CSS. Let's go with large hero __ text content. If you are wondering how I chose this exact name and what the underscores mean, don't worry, we will get to that in due time. But for now, let's go ahead and save this file. and then hop into our CSS file and say large hero underscore underscore text content. And we want to write CSS that positions the text on top of the image. So if we say position absolute, top 0, left 0, that will position the text in the very top left corner of the image. But we want it to be centered both horizontally and vertically. Centering it horizontally is as simple as saying width 100% and then text align center. Centering the content vertically is a bit trickier. Every developer has their own specific way of doing it. Let me show you mine. So we can start out by changing the top value to 50%. So now the top edge of our text div, which is right about here, is center aligned vertically with the overall container element, but our content certainly isn't. So to fix that, we just need to pull this content up a bit. Specifically, we want to pull it up about half of its own height. So to do that, we can use a property named transform. And then we can leverage a function named translate_y. This will let us position an element vertically relative to itself. So for example, if we say 100%, that will push the content down however tall the content is. So for example, if this div of text is about 190 pixels tall, it will be pushed down 190 pixels. So let's set this value temporarily to 0. If this is the content's neutral positioning, we just want to pull it up about half of its own height. So to pull it up, we can use a negative value, and let's say 50%. Excellent. Now some of you might be yelling at the screen right now and wondering why we didn't just apply this image as a CSS background image. If we would have done that, instead of having this image be an actual image element, we wouldn't have had to deal with all of this positioning nonsense. Well, that's a great question. Both routes definitely have their advantages. I decided to use a real image element instead of a background image because in a few lessons from now, we will be learning about responsive images. And I feel that the advantages that responsive images bring to the table tip the pros and cons scale in favor of this route. But there is no right or wrong way to overlay text on top of an image. This is just one way to do it. Now, having said that, I think this is a good stopping point for this video, but not for this lesson. This is actually a two-part lesson because there was a lot to digest. You will remember back at the beginning of this video, we mentioned that there are 3 key points to keeping our CSS very organized. And in this video, part 1, we spent a lot of our time on file architecture. In the next video, part 2 of this lesson, we will focus on how to identify patterns in our design and why doing so will let us write better code. We will also learn about a few rules and guidelines that we want to follow when we come up with class names and also when we write our CSS selectors. And I hope it goes without saying that we will also continue to build the travel agency website together. So this lesson will continue when I see you in the next video.